ಬಂದಿದ್ದೆ 2 ದಿನ ಕಲೆ ஹலோ ஹலோ சொல்லுங்க போல யார் இது கீபேட் அங்கே இல்லைன்னா அவர் ஐடி இருக்கு கொடுத்தா அவருக்கு லிங்க் கொடுத்தாச்சே வந்துட்டேன்னார் அவர் ஒரு சில பெட்ரம் BERTRAM எஸ் பெட்ரம் இக்னிஷியஸ் எஸ் ஓகே சார் ஓகே ஒரு சின்ன கன்ஃபியூஸ் ஆகிட்டாங்க ஃபுல் நேம் கொஞ்சம் கன்ஃபியூஸ் ஆகிட்டாங்க கவர்மெண்ட் பாலக்கான ஓகே ஓகே ப்ரோ அவருக்கு லிங்க் எடுத்து விடுங்க மைக்கும் வீடியோ வீடியோ
Good morning, Professor. Am I audible now?
அவருக்கு வீடியோ ஆன் பண்ணல வீடியோ லிங்க் பண்ண அன்லிங்க் பண்ணல அது ஆக்டிவ் பண்ணி சுதா ஆமாம் அந்த சார்
Yeah, good morning.
ஆமாம் சுதா எனக்கு பண்ணாங்க Sir, good morning, sir. Betram, sir, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Sir, actually, I just like to have a 30 seconds live video one, sir. Later,
Yeah,
share
please.
the video now.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Please. For our department, we have got a live thing. We'll just share that, and then we'll start further.
Definitely.
Yes, sir. Please. Pavel, you can be in, Pavel. சொல்லு நான் வரேன் வந்துடுவேன் அந்த வீடியோ வந்துட்டேன் நான் Hello. Yeah, good morning. Uh, shall shall we start?
Yes, Professor, you can start.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do. Ball start பண்ண ball. And good morning, one present here. So on behalf of the management of PSNA and Department of Information Technology, we like to invite our guest, Mr. Bertram Gordon Palagnatius. So he has been with the Cone Elevators from October 2014 and is designated as a manager HR. His specialist is talent management. One second. Is it audible? Hello, is it audible for everyone?
Yes, Professor, you are audible.
Audible. Thank you, sir. So he leads, as specialist in talent management, he leads a performance management, succession planning, and employee engagement process for India process, and he's also a PAPI certified coach. So, and he's a HR journalist, and he's handling recruitment for more than 10 years. So thank you, sir. And session over to now, Bertram now.
Yeah, thank you, Professor, for introducing me and also giving me the opportunity to interact with the students.
Please.
So I heard that you will be playing a video now. Is the video on, or shall we proceed with the session?
No, video is on. You can share. You can share. Start sharing.
Okay, fine. So good morning, everybody, once again. And before I get into the topic, is your passport ready? Definitely the topic would have been little interesting, or maybe it would have created some curiosity among you. What is this passport ready for a job interview? And definitely, if you think through, the answer is the resume. So before we go into the session, I would like to have a short video about Kone, who we are, what we do, and what is the whereabouts of Kone. Yes.
The power of technology is being harnessed to run the cities of the future. For true potential of urbanization, a clear vision of seamless and uninterrupted people flow is much needed. With that in the forefront, we build elevators and escalators for tomorrow. We are Kone. Our vision is to deliver the best people flow experience, and our mission is to improve the flow of urban life. A global leader in the elevator and escalator industry, our India operations are backed by state-of-the-art facilities that stand testimony to our promise of delivering a people flow experience like no other. As a century-old organization, we have a strong track record of bringing some of the best innovations in the industry. We take pride in taking that legacy forward every step of our journey. Sustainability is a source of innovation and a competitive advantage for us. We strive to shape today's and tomorrow's cities for the better. Our world-class factory in Sri Perumbudur, Tamil Nadu is South and Southeast Asia's largest elevator manufacturing facility. Armed with latest technology and equipment, our future-ready factory is built for the fast-growing nation. Kone guarantees an unmatched customer experience even before you step into our world. Our experience centers are spread across the country, bringing our products closer to customers by offering real-time touch and feel experience. We offer services and support for every step of your project, from building design to construction. We guarantee stringent quality and safety procedures across all stages of your equipment, right from the delivery at your site till its installation and handover. Our tailored maintenance and modernization services ensure smooth and reliable people flow for years to come. Our new intelligent Kone 24/7 connected services, powered by IBM Watson IoT, helps in predictive maintenance of the equipment, thereby ensuring improved safety, full transparency, and ease of mind. Kone is proud of its highly skilled workforce. We have a strong workforce constituting approximately 60,000 employees across the globe and 5,000 employees in India. They are the backbone of our company. Ethics and standards are a benchmark in the industry. Our aim is to exceed our customers' expectations. We do this by working together as a diverse and strong team of professionals across the globe. Kone Centennial Foundation supports CSR initiatives in India with focus on education, healthcare, environment, and related infrastructure. Our India Technology and Engineering Center in Pune further strengthens our capabilities in new digital services area. An extension of our Technology Center in Chennai, these centers with stronger research, technological development, and engineering collaboration serves the growing Indian market with more innovative solutions. We are always looking at what's next for our customers. Our solutions are just the beginning of smart, connected, and future-proof cities. Come, walk into the future of people flow with Kone. Humans have always
So yes, hope you saw the video about Kone. It's a small introduction about Kone, and for more information, you can always visit our website kone.com, where you will get a lot of information about our services, our products. Well, now we get into the session. Is your passport ready? So I have a couple of slides to share with you, which will be frequently switched on and off as we progress along this webinar. Now, before we begin, a question to all of you. Maybe some of you are on Zoom, some of you are watching on YouTube as well. So maybe the advantage lies with people who have connected on Zoom, where you can respond to any of the interactive questions we will be having here. So we will try to make this session as interesting as possible and as interactive as possible. So the first question to you is, how many of you have your passport? That is, in other words, your resume ready now. So you can type in your answers here. Maybe I can also use the chat option here. You can answer yes or no. So there is somebody who has also raised your hand. So if you have any questions, you can also put it in the chat box. So some of you say yes and some of you say no. The responses are actually very interesting to see. And if you have not done your resume, please prepare your resume after this webinar. Well, so what is a resume? Some of you also have some lot of questions between, or you would want to know the difference between a resume, a curriculum vitae, that is a CV, or a biography. So the answer to your question is very simple. And I have a slide on this now again. So a resume is a more focused and a brief summary of your skills, achievements, and experience. When you look at a CV, that is a curriculum vitae, it is a detailed representation of your skills, achievements, and experience. The answer is right in front of you. So before you get your passport, that is the resume ready for an interview, it is important to understand the basic objective of a resume or the basic difference between a CV and a resume. Knowing this will help you build your own resume in a more effective manner. So as we progress down, I would have a disclaimer here. This 1 hour is too short for me to cover all the inputs about your own resume. But definitely this session will help you to understand the nuances of what needs to be there on your resume, what is important to put in on your resume, and what is not very essential for a resume. So knowing this, these are some pointers which will help you to further do your own research and study about building your own profile or building your own resume. And one more important thing, your resume, however classy or however mastery it may be, it will not guarantee you a job. Please remember, your resume will not guarantee you a job. It is only a ticket. That is the reason I have put this very clearly as a passport. So it is only an entry ticket for you to get through to an interview. So the importance here is the resume has to stimulate the recruiter. Now you are getting introduced to a new person and he is the recipient of your resume. So you have to attract, you have to influence the recruiter or the hiring manager to pick your profile and call you for an interview. So what is the skills, basic necessary aspects that you will have to cover in a resume is something that we are going to look at it in a very detailed manner within the given time limits. So as we progress during this session, if you have any questions, you can always use the chat window. Maybe I can off and on switch over, and I would also request the moderators of this session to keep watch on the chat so that we do not miss out any questions asked by the students. So the next thing, what we have to understand about a resume is the main objective of a resume and the components. So these are the things that we will be discussing throughout the entire session. Why it is important to create a resume on your own. I have seen most of them. Normally what they do is grab a copy of a friend's resume, change a few details, and then submit it to the employer. Please, my friends, that is not the right way of making your own resume. I'll tell you a very practical example here. Once we went for a campus interview. What happened there was the college, definitely the college, I do not know the communication, how much has gone into the students about the campus. The students were less prepared. Some of them, as we saw here, some of you have your resumes already ready and some of them did not. So one fine gentleman, what he did was he grabbed a copy of his friend's CV, and now most of us are using the digital platform. So he grabbed a copy of his friend's resume, edited the name alone. His impression or his thought process was both of them studied in the same college, same class, same department, same, at times they also worked together in the same project, maybe, I do not know. But this gentleman changed only the name, what is there on top of the resume, and submitted to the panel. To our surprise, the name had an initial, different initial, and the father's name, what was there on the running page of the resume, was totally different. It was shocking. It is actually surprising too. So this is one of the important reason, and this is not the only important reason. This is one of the important differentiation that I wanted to tell you, that building your own resume, making every dot your own is important. Your skill sets are different. Your talents are different. Your potential is different. Each of you are unique in your own way. Each of you have your own specialized skill sets. So why is that you need to copy from somebody else? Understand that. You need not copy a skill set from someone else. What is unique to you? Present it in your resume. So we will look at how you present that uniqueness in you in the resume in the following slides as well. So this important section is your profile heading. So when you have your profile heading, maybe I can also slightly touch upon, before I move into the profile heading, I have just given you the differences between a CV and a resume. And I have also introduced to you about who will look at your resume. Yes, so who will look at your resume is the recruiter or the hiring manager. So I have another question for you here now. How much time do you think the hiring manager or the recruiter would have to look at your resume, to screen your resume? So you can put in your chat box. I can drop another question here. How much time do you think? Yes, your answers. So 1, 2 minutes, maybe a few seconds, 2 minutes. Yes, responses are quite interesting, 1 to 2 minutes. So average people say 2 minutes, maybe few seconds, less than a minute. I appreciate people responding here. And I also appreciate people who said less than a minute. So if you want to know specifically how much time actually they take in terms of responding, it is actually 10 to 20 seconds or 10 to 30 seconds. Sometimes it is shocking for most of you, because I have crafted, like I have put 2 to 3 pages of my resume, and the recruiter is just spending hardly 10 seconds or hardly 30 seconds. 10 seconds enough for a recruiter to decide whether another 20 seconds is required for him to progress in terms of reading your resume. So this is the time, this 30 seconds is what you have got to impress the recruiter. This is the 30 seconds in your life that you have the time to impress the recruiter. So it is important in this 30 seconds, how are you going to grab the attention of the recruiter? Yeah, I would also request participants on the call, maybe you can mute yourself so that there is uninterrupted session. Okay, so you have understood who looks at your resume now. So how do you stand out by other resumes? Because it is important that you differentiate yourself, you differentiate your skill sets with others. So how do you stand out in the resume? So before getting into that particular nuances of building in your own resume, it is important to see what are the different types of resume, and among the types of resume, what are the different sections that you will be looking into it. So we have 4 types of resume. So most of you would be like, I thought resume is only one type. How is that 4 different types of resume? Yes, my dear friends, we have 4 different types of resumes. So when you look at a resume, you can look at a resume in a chronological format. So chronological format means probably it will give more focus to the experience and the job history. So I have a slide, not to worry about it. So I have a slide again on the 4 different types of resume. So the chronological resume gives you more focus on the experience and the job history. You have the next type as a functional resume. The functional resume gives more focus on the skills. There is a combination resume, which is a fusion of the chronological resume and the functional resume. And there is something called the targeted resume, which actually influences the recruiter more, which will give you a high visibility in terms of getting your profile shortlisted for the interview. So little more detail about the chronological resume, who would use it? So if you look at the chronological resume, most of the people who have a steady career progression in their life, in their career, that could be they would have joined as an engineer, they would have moved into a senior engineer, then as a project manager, or maybe a project lead. So somebody who has got a very clear and a defined career path would use a chronological resume. And one more important point here in a chronological resume is the candidate would be very specific in terms of entering his start date, that is a date or month and the year of the company that he has joined. And this goes on a progressive mode. It could be a reverse chronology or even a chronological format. And the difference again with a functional resume. Functional resume will do have the employer details, that is a job history, will do have, but the focus is more on the skill set of an employee or for the individual. The focus is more on the skill set. So how do you focus more on the skill set, and who will use this kind of a resume? People who have handled different roles, maybe between companies to company or between the organization or within the organization, people who have handled different roles. Somebody who has handled sales, somebody who has handled marketing, somebody who has handled probably service, somebody who have handled maintenance. So this kind of a candidate has a multiple exposure on various skill sets. And for this particular candidate, it is not important to bring in a very hierarchical or a sequential order in terms of his job. So he would prefer to have all his skills highlighted in the resume rather than giving a chronological order in terms of his job. So there is no correct resume or incorrect resume here. It is all about how you would want to represent yourself to the employer. So the next thing is a combination resume. These candidates would have their resume both, that is the job history also would be given focus, that is they will include their month and year that they assumed in or joined in an organization or assumed a particular position in the organization, and then also focus on the skills that they have handled. So this is something known as a combination resume. And the last one is the targeted resume. So the targeted resume talks about customizing your resume for every position that you apply. So how do you customize? So then there will be a question with you now. If I am applying for 4 companies, should I have 4 different set of resumes? Answer is yes. You should have 4 different resumes, but the content is the same. So what are these differences that we are going to make in the resume? Okay. How do you differentiate between the company A that you are applying for and the company B that you are applying for? So here it is important to understand the job description about the company, what you are going to apply for. So once you understand the job description, the skill sets required, you will have to use the same skills that you have. So I'm not here to tell you that you should not, because the company is expecting some other skill set and you do not possess that particular skill set, change your resume to that particular company skill set. No, not at all. You have to slightly moderate your skill sets, which will actually fit in the particular job. So making a targeted resume will create a high level of visibility among the recruiters. So it is important to have a targeted resume. You can always have a targeted chronological resume, a targeted functional resume, or even a targeted combination resume. Now that we have understood the different types of resume, always you can use any type of a resume, but never deviate from the main objective. Never deviate from the main objective of the resume. What is the main objective of a resume? It is to list your skills, achievements, and experience. So please remember, a main objective of a resume is to list down your skills, achievements, and experience. Please do not forget that. So if you do not have any of these on your resume, then you have lesser chance of getting shortlisted. So you have to think, what are the sections that you have in your resume? So the next point that we are going to discuss is again the same. The sections that you can have on your resume. So by this time, do we have any other questions before we progress to the next section? Do you have any questions about the type of a resume or the objective of a resume? Okay, then we progress further. We can reserve the questions towards the end as well. Okay, now we have 4 essential sections. So I'm making this session very easy for you to remember. We have 4 types of resume. We have 4 essential sections. Okay. If you do not have any of these sections, your chances of getting shortlisted for the interview is high. So you have a professional heading or a profile heading. That is one section. I will share a screen now so that you also take notes if you want. So you have a profile heading, you have an education, you have experience, you have skills. Under each of these sections, it is important to have minimum requirement or minimum data which will help the recruiter to shortlist your profile. Do not load your resume with too much of information. Please do not load your resume with too much of information. What is required for the recruiter to shortlist your resume is all that enough for your profile to get shortlisted. So now, looking at a profile heading. Profile heading is something, a replacement of the objective. So most of our resumes would have objective, right? So profile heading is a replacement of the objective. Objective setting in a resume is more of a traditional way of looking at a resume. That is the reason it has replaced, the profile heading has replaced the objective. Most of us would have an objective saying, I'm looking for or looking to join in the company and contribute my skills and experience for the growth of the company. Yes, even if you are not putting that on your resume, you are expected to do that. So you need not put that as a special objective. So now it is the profile heading that is going to influence the recruiter better. What is a profile heading? A profile heading starts with your core functional area or functional expertise. So if you are a IT person, if you are a software designer, if you are a software developer, if you are a coding specialist, use that skill set on your profile heading. Start with a software professional or a coding professional or a design professional. Whatever is relevant or whatever is the top of your skill set, begin with that. Having 1 year experience, or maybe you have certified or graduated, a fresh graduate, a software designer, a developer, a coding specialist, whatever you call it, you have that as a profile heading. Then having so many years of experience, all those areas can be brought in here. The next section is education. So when you look at the education, most of the resumes have the degree, and sometimes they do not mention the year of passing, sometimes they do not mention the grade, sometimes they do not mention the university. But here on a resume, it is important to mention your degree, your university, the year of passing, and the grade. There are a lot of positive aspects by adding all these sections in a resume. Maybe I'll give you a very positive example. Some of you are applying for a particular position in a company, or maybe a recruiter. Let's take it this way. A recruiter is from your own college, an alumni of PSNA, and he would want to hire somebody from the same college. So having the college name or the university name will have you high chances of getting your profile listed on top of the search. Obviously, most of you are now highly tech savvy, so I need not tell you how does the search engine works. So that is a similar way the search engine works for a recruiter who uses a job portal. Could be LinkedIn, could be Naukri, or whatever job portal the recruiter is using. So that is the reason we are very clear that it should have a profile heading, and it should have the education, it should have the experience and the skills. We will look at it a little more in detail on how your profile is listed on top when the recruiter is going to search for your resume. When the next one is experience. When you look at the experience, it is important that to have a relevant work experience for that particular job that you are applying for. And in your case, you might say, I do not have experience. What should I do? Experience is not only your job experience. You can add your project, you can add your internship experience, or in case you do not have much in terms of your projects or internships, you can also talk about your strengths as your experience. You can talk about your core strength, your competencies as your experience. How did you handle a particular situation? That is an experience. So those things can be entered in the experience section. The next one is, the last one is the skills. How do you enter the skill? Maybe there are some sample resumes towards the end of the slide where some of them have rated their skill on a scale of 1 to 5. That could be one of the possibilities, and skills could refer to your software knowledge or probably your hardcore functional skills. Probably you are aware of a particular tool or a software, or maybe a Microsoft product. Do not put Excel, PowerPoint, Word. No, could be Microsoft Visio. So these kind of Microsoft Project Manager, these kind of software skills can be made as a point here, and it can be rated from 1 to 5, which will give a clear picture on your proficiency level of a particular skill. Or you can just mention that if you do not want to rate your skill, because the way that you rate and the recruiter understands the rating is totally different. If you feel that way, you can mention you have these particular skills. It is important. Okay. Now you have understood the essential sections of a resume. Now, how do we feed in the data in all these essential sections is another important thing. So the best format is sentence fragment, using sentence fragment. So sentence fragment is not a full grammatical sentence. A recruiter is not going to test your English language proficiency here in a resume. The recruiter wants only, are you qualified? Are you capable of handling that particular position in his own company? Hence, it is not required to have a complete sentence on your resume. Then, what are these sentence fragments then? What are these sentence fragments? And how do we use these sentence fragments? I have a slide again. One second, I'm not getting the share button here now. Okay. Yes, okay. Sentence fragments are small sentences with no proper grammatical format, but usually they begin with a strong action verb. So when they begin with an action verb, then it is important that we complete the STAR approach: situation, task, action, and result. So in case if you are not able to complete the situation, task, action, and result, then probably you can start with task, action, and result. So I have given a clear or maybe few of the examples of the action verbs. Action verbs you can start with achieved, established, improved, improved the efficiency. Whenever you are starting the sentence with these action verbs, it will definitely lead in terms of completing the STAR approach. And these sentence fragments can be 2 or 3 for every particular experience or particular skill sets or particular you will not have for education. You will definitely have these sentence fragments on your education section, on your experience section or on your skills section. Use these sentence fragments, and whenever you have an experience, then probably for each of the companies that you worked, you can have at least 3 or 4 sentence fragments. Or if you are making a functional resume, then probably for each of your skill sets you can have 3 or 4 sentence fragments. This will help you better represent your resume and better represent your skill. Then when you use these sentence fragments, there is also one particular thing which is very important. What is that? You need to add certain keywords. So what are keywords? Keywords are words that the recruiter uses in his search. So the keywords are words that the recruiter uses in his search. For example, as I think we have already discussed this few words, if somebody is a software designer, then design. Somebody who is a developer, then use develop, coding, or maybe some software skills like C++, Java, mainframe. All these aspects you can use when you are building your own resume. This will help you bring out your resume on top of the search. So having a sentence fragment and what words that you use in a sentence fragment is also important. So in the sentence fragment, you begin with an action verb, strong action verb, and then you build in the particular sentence and also ensure that you have the adequate keyword required for that particular job role. And for this, to identify the keywords, it is important you have to read through the job description. So when you read through the job description, you will get to know what are the keywords that are used in the particular job description. And those keywords have to be there in part of your resume. That is how the resume increases its own visibility. Well, do we have any questions now? Maybe some time to take some of your questions. Okay, we can also have some question session towards the end of the webinar. Now, I have some common observations in terms of resume. Having too much of information. Most of the resumes have too much of information. Candidates feel that this is the only chance for them to get connected to the recruiter, so I should give as much as possible. So having too much of information on a resume will also eventually lead for not shortlisting your profile for further interview levels. Then, what are the information that we have to have is something we have looked at using the different formats or different types of resume. And then we also have the 4 essential sections in a resume, not limiting to or not deviating from catering the objective of the resume. Then the next information or probably the next common observation is the font. What font do we use in a resume? Please remember, these days the resume is being circulated in all platforms. Could be your LinkedIn, or most of them are electronic medium. Then it is important that these electronic mediums, the recruiter or any person, hiring manager, can have a mobile device to read your resume, or can have a laptop to read your resume, or a computer, or even a tablet. Then what is the point of using a right or a most appropriate font? Yes, the font should look clean on a smaller screen, or even in a larger screen. That is the objective here of using the appropriate font. When maybe earlier days when we opened Microsoft Word, the common font was Times New Roman. These days, Times New Roman is not a very common font. Maybe if you open a Microsoft Word today, there could be Calibri or Arial or even Verdana. So these are the maybe recommended fonts, I would say. The reason is they look clean on a mobile screen. That is the only reason. There are no other reason behind using a very clean font. And probably to also check this, take your mobile, and maybe before you have customized your mobile in terms of the fonts, what is the pre-installed font when you switch on your mobile appears on a message. That is a very clean format of using a particular font. And what is the font size that you have to use, and do you have to use a bold, italics, underline? Font size, if you are using a Calibri, it can be 10 or 11, and only the profile sections or the resume sections, be it a profile heading, be it education, be it work experience, or be it skills, these kind of sections can be bold. Underline is not required. If you feel it is going to slightly improve the visibility of that particular section, then you can use. What are the other common observations in terms of a resume building? Yes, spelling and punctuation. Spelling and punctuation is very important. That shows how much interest or how much time you have actually dedicated in terms of preparing your own resume. So if you don't have a very correct or maybe very proper formatted resume, that is in case of too many spelling mistake, punctuation errors, including a dot. The dot is like, for somebody who has completed his B.Ed, you have to use capital B and a dot and a capital E and a D. If you do not use a punctuation here, the meaning is totally changed. The punctuation again, or using the full form. For example, if somebody is a mechanical engineer, or you have completed your computer science, so how do you say, or how do you use that computer science in your resume? Most of us say comp.sci. Do you think the recruiter will use comp.sci? Is it a universally accepted acronym or abbreviation? Not sure. These are maybe by practice we have started using comp.sci or MECH, MKT, marketing. So do not use these short forms or what you have created as short forms, because these days when you text your friends, you say D for THE. Can you use these short forms on your resume? You can use, but your chances of getting shortlisted during or maybe appearing on the search will be very high, will not be very high. So then in that case, you have to use the universally accepted words on your resume. And the recruiter searches, then your name or your resume appears on the top of the search. Then what are the other common mistakes? Do you need to have a photograph? Do you need to have hobbies in your particular section, resume section? Well, to answer this question, do you need to have a photograph? Probably I would say this depends on the position that you are applying for. For example, somebody wants to apply for a front office role. Somebody wants to apply for a hotel industry. in these particular industries or these particular roles, photograph is highly essential. So if you do not have a photograph, the recruiter is not going to consider your resume. Not for all roles photograph is required. So the choice is yours, and you have to take some points from the section what we discussed about the targeted resume. So this is how you target your particular resume to a particular segment or a functional industry or maybe sector. Maybe I also have something on the chat box in terms of the colors of font. Yes, you can have colors, but please ensure that these colors are not too much catching or too much distracting the eye of the recruiter. Because earlier we had only black and white fonts and black and white resumes, but now more digital way of looking at your resumes, the colors, and you can also have a lot of infographics on your resume. So that is again a very interesting subject or interesting topic. How do you create an infographic resume? I have a few examples again in terms of some sample profiles, not the real one, but the way the resume is being structured. I can show you that as well. Maybe since the question was here, I can show you that particular section and then move on to further common observations. So infographic is a very good topic again, because this will help you build in a very colorful resume, and when you share it on a digital platform, it is very helpful. So these are some common formats of a resume, and if you look at the commonality in these resumes, you will really find what are the sections that we discussed in the previous maybe a few minutes back. All these sections will alone be here in all these resumes. It is not that I have picked up only those resumes, but if you look at some traditional resumes, and on top I have given you some websites which give you very decent resume formats. Canva is a very beautiful website which offers or which gives you some format of resumes. Zeti is a very professional site which gives you a format of multiple resumes. Wengage is another format or another domain or another website which gives you different formats of how do you select your resume. Most of them are really colorful. When you are sending your resume on a digital platform, it is always good to have these kind of approaches, or these models can be followed in terms of creating your digital resume. And specifically, most of you, if you are into multimedia, that is your computer science, probably this particular third one from the left can be a recommended one. Somebody would want to have one commonality that you find in this resume. This resume looks very clean. It has got a lot of white space, and it has got only the essential information that is required. So you can take note of the references what is given on top of it, and you can use any of them. And I'm also looking at the questions. If we have, can we use tabular column for making education details? Yes, you can. There is no hard and fast rule that you should not make or you should make. But I have heard, probably with my own experience, I do not know whether they have overcome this. I'm also not too sure about it. But certain search engines would find it very difficult to read the text inside the tabular column. So certain search engines. But now, during with the artificial intelligence, I think these probably pitfalls would have definitely been overcome now. You can use a tabular column, provided you do not make it too clustered and too clumsy for the recruiter to read through. What happens, these lines distract the recruiter in terms of reading the information. If you put your information on a table, what happens, there are lines which will distract the recruiter's eye rather than looking into the detail what it is required. What is best advised is, after you prepare your resume, you do a proofreading of your own resume. Don't look at it as your resume. Look at it as if you are given a third person's resume for you to critically look at it. Look at maybe search Google for a lot of resume formats, or maybe you can use any of the websites which we were given, or there are too many websites available. I cannot list all of them. Google it, you will have a lot of websites available. What you can do is prepare a resume on that particular format, show it to your professor, because I do not advise you to depend on Google alone. Google will give you correct information and incorrect information. And at your level, if you are not the best judge of yourself, please get back to your professors, faculty in the college, your placement department. They will be able to coach you better in terms of presenting yourself better on a resume. You can also follow the tips that we have shared during this one hour of webinar, and then have them as a guide. So one exercise for you today is to, maybe people who have a resume already, you can look at it, criticize your resume. Are they aligned to those guidelines what we discussed during this webinar? And those who have not prepared a resume, prepare a fresh resume, and both these category of students can share your resume with your faculty, who will also help you in terms of better representing yourself in the resume. So the next question is, yeah, they are asking for the recording. I think it is on the YouTube, so you will be able to get the recording from the YouTube. You can contact your placement or the placement department or someone who has organized this webinar for you. They will be sharing you the particular link. Personal details, yes, it is important. I was also mentioning about the personal details, father name, mother name. Okay, and even, of course, one important thing what I wanted to tell you here is your resume is a passport for a job. A resume is not to be uploaded on a matrimony website. So now you will be able to understand the difference between creating a biodata for a matrimony website and creating a resume for a job. So do you require the details, so much details of your parents? Definitely we should value them, we honor them, but is this the right place? Parents name, yes, you can have a father's name if required. Otherwise it is not essential to have it on the personal details section. Okay, what are the other aspects what you can have in the personal details section? You can have your date of birth, you can have your, maybe I don't even prefer having a gender or your marital status. That is the reason I differentiated yourself, the resume between uploading on a matrimony.com website and also to a job portal website. So these are certain sections. You will have to decide whether that information will be useful for the recruiter to use it for that particular job. Okay, other questions? Good question. So after having completed this, probably we have crossed close to 1 hour. We are about to close the session. So I will ask you the same question. What do you think is the ideal size of a resume? How many pages a resume can go? So then maybe people can chat. What do you think? 1 page? Responses, yes, please keep coming. What do you think is the ideal size, or how many pages a resume can go? Two, maximum 2. Okay, some of you say 2 and some of you say 1. Okay. Answer was there in the earlier section in my own presentation. 2 to 3 for a fresher. I think it is very big, 2 to 3. The answer is, I would want you to reflect back on the difference between a CV and a resume. So what we saw, a resume is a brief summary of all your skills, experience, and achievements. CV is a detailed representation of your skills, achievements, and experience. So now, ideal size of a resume, because we also saw another question. A recruiter has got only 30 seconds to look at your resume. So do you think in 30 seconds he will be able to flip through the different pages? No. So the ideal size of a resume is only one page. And in this one page, all these resumes, what I presented in the sample, they were only of one page. They didn't have run into multiple pages. So there is enough information and there is enough space in that particular one page for you to share all the details that are required for a recruiter. Okay, there are questions about font size, font color again, and font colors. Yes, please be very selective. Do not use too many flashing colors. It could be very minimal, maybe blue, navy blue, could be brown, not too flashy colors. That could be avoided. So I have two assignments for you, and we are close to the end of the webinar. And I usually, because of this particular pandemic situation, I usually end my webinar this way. At this point of time, most of you, though we have adopted new ways of learning, and I'm damn sure that technology has grown so much, and the e-learnings that have been increased these days, the mode of learning for every individual has increased, drastically increased. And I'm sure even in our own company, we have completed 54,000 e-learnings last month. So it was amazing. We have not met that particular number in one particular month. So people have adapted to new ways of learning. But at the same time, there is some uncertainty between most of us. I am a graduate. Will I be able to get a job? Or will the market be down for so many years? I always believe that there is always light at the end of every tunnel. So I also use this in most of the sessions and say there is always light at the end of every tunnel. So all you have to do is have a lot of hope and march ahead, and you will have the best times ahead of your life. And the last thing is the two assignments about after this webinar. The first assignment was to prepare your own resume, and the second one, after completing this webinar, you will be shared with a link. Now the link is on to test your own knowledge about your understanding about how do you prepare your own resume. So this will help you what level of understanding you have got in terms of this particular session. So you can take this test and you will be able to understand your scores better. So do we have any questions? So meanwhile, I'm writing or sharing the link to everybody here. So you can take the test for your own understanding. Where do you or how much you have understood about this particular resume building?
Sir, we have.
Yes.
Sir, we have skipped a question from our audience that whether we need to add some tabular columns.
Yeah, tabular column. I did. Yeah, I did speak about having a tabular column. What I was telling was probably you can use a tabular column because earlier some of the tools or some of the softwares they were not able to read the text inside a tabular column, but now due with the artificial intelligence and so on, probably they are able to address this particular point. However, my perspective or my view is having a tabular column would definitely divert the attention of the recruiter in terms of looking at the particular detail inside the tabular column. These lines would be definitely not giving a clear visibility for the recruiter to look at the data inside the tabular column. So it is better to avoid a tabular column, but having a tabular column is not wrong.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. How about video resumes? Yeah, you can have video resumes, but I'm not too sure about how far video resumes are being currently in use. Probably you can take a videograph of yourself, upload it as a supplementary in your LinkedIn profile pages. So it is also important to update your LinkedIn profile, because this is one of the professional platform where we see a lot of particulars about the candidate is available, and a lot of job searches happen through LinkedIn. So you can also update your LinkedIn profile as well. And when you update your LinkedIn profile, you can shoot out a small self introduction about yourself, which should include, when we talk about a video resume, definitely it should again include all the skills, experience, and the summary of your work profile. That should be there on a video resume. Yeah, I have covered most of your questions now, which is appearing. So font would be Calibri, Arial, or Verdana, depending on the size you can choose. You can use 2 font in a single resume. Do not use multiple fonts, which will again not give a very good picture about, or the resume will not look very clean. But you can have at least 2 fonts in a resume. Maybe you can use a separate font for a heading. You can use a separate font for the description. That is the sentence fragment that we were talking about.
So is there any further questions, students and participants? If you have any further questions, you can please text in the chat box. So if no questions are there,
Okay.
4 messages. Sir, we got some questions.
Okay.
What is the font? Which font size is best? Freshers, can they add about their project details in the resume?
Yes, I think we covered. Probably maybe some of you would have lost your connectivity in between, I believe. You can have your project details, because we were talking about 4 different sections on the resume, right? So when we were talking about the 4 different sections, we had experience as one of the section. So freshers would not have experience. In that case, it is important that you have your project details. You can include your internships, all these aspects in terms of which can be correlated to your experience. Those can be included here.
So any more further questions, or shall we wind up, sir?
Yeah, I'm okay up to the college.
Sir, now our Dr. Vincent Anton Kumar, our HOD, will address the gathering now, sir.
Thank you.
It's over to you, sir.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, today I think, good morning, how are you? And today I think we started the webinar session, session 1, for the season 1 for the students perspective. So we have 14, 15, 16, 17 till 18. We have a session for the students. Okay. And next week we are planning to conduct for the faculty members, like research and FTP, about the how to get research projects and so on from the IIT Madras and as well as the IAC and the eminent professors. So I think this is the inaugural webinar series. I thank you very much. During the busy schedule, I think you address for our students and as well as the faculty members also in the session. And I think we are explained very well, and I think I got a very good experience as being HR and giving a very much tips to the students. Since our final year students, they are 3rd years also, they are preparing the resume, the right topic given by you and as well as the coordinators and everyone. So on behalf of the PSNA College of Engineering and Technology Management and the principal, and on my own behalf, and as well as the coordinators and the faculty members, thank you very much for your spending time with us and giving this wonderful session, sir. Very much thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So at this juncture, I would like to thank Mr. Bertram and my friend Mr. MP Saran, who is his reporting boss, for allowing him to do this valuable session, and many of the students enjoyed. So excellent session. So feel
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Can we end up, sir?
Yes, I'm okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And a reminder on the assessment and also preparing your own resume. So you can use the link that is available in the chat box. So you can take your own test and then submit it. And the scores will be shared with your faculty. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.